Hello students, welcome to the Hindu News Analysis by Bajirao IAS Academy. Today we have a set of very important and relevant news articles for both prelims and mains exam perspective. Right? So before actually going into the discussion part, please subscribe to the Bajirao IAS Academy YouTube channel so that you will get all the important updates regarding the classes. Okay, so now let's jump into the discussion. See, these are important news articles, and these articles are very important for both prelims and mains exam perspective. So the first very important news article is the horizon for India beyond the G20 and Shanghai Cooperation Organization summits. Right, this year India is holding presidency and leadership of both G20 and Shanghai Cooperation Organization summits. So in this context, India should not overlook the challenges currently India has been facing. As part of this article, we will try and understand what are the issues India is likely facing. Okay, the next very important news article is regarding the smart meters. Okay, so smart meters will help in efficient utilization of electricity and will also make sure that it is affordable, accessible to the consumers, and will also help India meet its climate goals or climate commitments. The next important news article is Central Security Forces. This is with respect to Manipur crisis, right? So in this article, we will try and understand what exactly is Manipur crisis and what are the factors that led to the crisis in the state of Manipur. And the next article is Shanghai Cooperation Organization Foreign Ministers Meet, which took place in Goa. We will try and understand what is the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, what are its aims and objectives, and when it was actually established. MGNREGA workers, this is with respect to the National Mobile Monitoring Network. Okay, this is with respect to National Mobile Monitoring Network. With respect to attendance of the workers. And the next important news article is India said to mull foreign investment in nuclear power. As of now, India has not allowed foreign investment into nuclear power. Now, India has been planning to allow foreign investment as well as domestic investment into nuclear power. Okay, so the next article is Center looks into options to counter European Union's carbon tax plan. Okay, European Union has been planning to impose the carbon border adjustment tax. So this will likely impact India's exports to European Union. So this in this context, we will try and understand what is a carbon tax and how it will impact India's exports to European Union. So this is a very important news article because India currently having the presidency and leadership of both G20, group of 20 major economies, and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Before actually discussing this editorial, first we try and understand the member countries of both G20 and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Okay, so please remember all the members of the G7 grouping are also members of the G20 grouping. Okay, what are the members of G7 grouping? The member countries include Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, United Kingdom, United States of America. Okay, so these are all the member countries of G7. So all the member countries of are also members of the G20 grouping. So these are all the member countries of the G20 grouping. So please remember these member countries also, because UPSC already asked a question. Okay, so UPSC already asked a question on the members of G20 grouping. Now also understand the member countries of Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So these are the member countries of Shanghai Cooperation Organization. They include Russia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, India, Pakistan, and China. Okay, so these are all the member countries of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Now understand what exactly this article has been saying. Okay, so this article has been emphasizing on India's leadership, the current presidency and the leadership of both the G20 grouping and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization should not blind us, should not blind us to the persisting challenges India likely to face. Okay, so there are several challenges India likely to face. The leadership and the presidency should not blind us to the oncoming challenges. Okay, so what are those challenges? The challenges include: one is deteriorating geopolitical climate. Okay, so this is one major challenge. How geopolitical climate, deteriorating geopolitical climate is a challenge because the food security challenge and also the energy security challenge will further aggravate the economic crisis, the impending economic crisis in different economies. Okay, the next big challenge is a distinct possibility of impending conflict between the US led West and Russia over Russia Ukraine war, and the emerging China, right? The emerging China, its military and economic power threatening the rules based order. So, this will also result in an impending climate. Okay, now India has a set of priorities for this year's G20 summit. Okay, India has a set of priorities, particularly for the this year's G20 summit. So, what are those priorities? The priorities include climate change, clean energy, sustainable development goals, and reforming multilateral institutions. Reforming multilateral institutions include World Trade Organization, United Nations Security Council, World Bank, and International Monetary Fund. So these are all the multilateral institutions, and India also prioritized reforming multilateral institutions. But the author has been suggesting that all these priorities will likely to take backseat. Okay, all these priorities will likely to take a backseat. Why they likely to take a backseat? Because of the deteriorating global situation. Why the global situation has been deteriorating? We already discussed the reasons for the same. However, the article has been suggesting that India should also aware. Okay, India should also aware that the importance of G20 has been waning. Okay, the importance of G20 has been declining. Why it has been declining? Now the G20 has been divided grouping. Okay, particularly after Russia Ukraine war, the G20 has been particularly a divided grouping because the US on the other side, US on the one side, along with the European Union, plus Russia and China on the other side. Because of this reason, the influence or the importance of the G20 has been waning over a period of time. Okay, so however, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, right? So this has been somewhat has a greater traction than the G20 grouping because it is mostly dominated by the countries like China, Russia, and India. Okay, so therefore, major economies are also part of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So therefore, it has been gaining a greater traction than the G20 grouping. Okay, so however, the article has been suggesting that during the presidency of India for two important institutions. Okay, what are those two important institutions? One is G20 and other is Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Okay, now as part of the presidency of these two groupings or these two organizations, India is likely to be called by other nations or other institutions to chart a course. Okay, so to chart a course of to, to, to chart a course, and that particularly balances the contradictory demands. Okay, there are several contradictory demands between G20 grouping and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Okay, so India likely to be called to chart a course, so that likely to balance the contradictory demands of G20 and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and more so with respect to the global south. So what is the global south? Global south include all the underdeveloped and developing countries that are part of South America, Africa, South Asia, and Southeast Asia. India is very often known as the leader of the global south. Okay, right from the non-aligned movement up to now, India is rightly called as the leader of non-alignment movement. Okay, so therefore, so because of these reasons, because of the contradictory demands, there is a very little room for India for, you know, there is a little room for India for maneuver, and India should proceed with a caution while dealing with the presidency and the leadership of both Shanghai Cooperation Organization and the G20 grouping. Now understand that there are two camps. Okay, So there are two camps. What are those two camps? One camp is led by US plus European Union, and the other camp, okay, so the other camp is Russia plus China, or Russia or China individually. Okay, so there is also a huge distrust among these camps or among these countries. Okay, so this has been clearly given here, distrust between the two camps. Okay, so what are those two camps? One camp is led by United States and the other camp is led by China, Russia respectively. Now this two camps and developing distrust has leave India with a little scope. Okay, so it particularly leaves India with a little scope, and that have India, countries like India have so far not declared any allegiance. Okay, so they have not declared any allegiance to any country. So far, they have maintained autonomy. Okay, they have maintained this strategic autonomy. So therefore, it is particularly a very challenging in the deteriorating global geopolitical climate and impending global situation for the maneuver or the geopolitical grandstanding of a country like India. Okay, so to begin this article, we need to look at the issues between India and China. There are several issues between India and China. First, understand the apart from the war clouds in Europe. Okay, so war clouds is because of the Russia Ukraine war, and the Russia Ukraine war possibly have a spillover effects into European Union and the rest of the world. Okay, so there are war clouds in the European Union and also tensions in the Eastern Pacific. Okay, so apart from this, there are also several other issues and that deepening these concerns. Okay, that have been deepening the concerns for India. Now understand, uh, how, India's major challenge is how to deal with rampaging China. Okay, so how can India deal with rampaging China, that assertive, aggressive China that has been, becoming uh, economic and the military superpower and even technological superpower in recent times. Okay, so that will be a major diplomatic come strategic offensive. Okay, China has now become a major diplomatic and strategic offensive across Asia. Okay, that has become a diplomatic come strategic offensive across Asia and especially West Asia. Okay, because why particularly West Asia? Because recent times China mediated between rivals Iran and Saudi Arabia. So therefore, Chinese influence has been clearly increasing in the West Asian region. So apart from this, China has a huge naval prowess. Okay, China has a huge naval prowess, and this novel naval prowess is helping China to, you know, project itself as a blue water navy. Okay, project itself as a blue water navy, and also fulfills its aspirations of becoming the naval superpower or to increase its influence across different regions, whether it is Indian Ocean, South China Sea, East China Sea, Pacific Oceans. Okay, right. So apart from this, China has also been flexing its military muscle in the Ladakh, and that has resulted in Galwan clashes where 20 of Indian soldiers were martyred, and also in the Arunachal sectors. Okay, so Arunachal sectors, recently China also renamed several locations in the state of Arunachal Pradesh. So apart from that, there was also a Doklam crisis. Okay, Doklam standoff. Doklam standoff at the Tri Junction, India, China, Bhutan Tri Junction region. Okay, now apart from these, China has also been launching several other regional initiatives. Okay, so what are those regional initiatives? And these regional initiatives are particularly to checkmate or to contain or to counter India's influence in the Indian Ocean region. Okay, counter India's influence in the Indian Ocean region. So one such regional initiative is the China Indian Ocean Region Forum. Okay, so one such regional initiative of China is China Indian Ocean Regional Forum. Okay, so this forum has seen participation by an overwhelming majority of Indian Ocean states. So there are several Indian Ocean states: Mauritius, Comoros, Madagascar, Assumption Islands, Maldives. Okay, so this grouping has seen participation from an overwhelming majority of Indian Ocean states. Okay, now China has also seeks to widen the arc of conflict with India. So why it has been uh, trying to widen the arc of conflict with India is because of few reasons. Okay, now China has been targeting India particularly because of it is going closer to US. Okay, India has been going closer to US and also to the Western Bloc. One such thing is India formed Quad grouping. Okay, India recently formed a Quad grouping in partnership with India, Australia, Japan, USA, as well as its participation in maritime surveillance exercises along with US, Japan, and Australia. So, because of all these reasons, the conflict, China has been trying to widen the arc of conflict with India in the recent past. Now, China has also uh, actively engaged in seeking new friends. Okay, it has been actively seeking new friends in the India's extended neighborhood, and this is with respect to the West Asia. Okay, this is with respect to West Asia, and China wanted to limit India's influence in the Western Asia because traditionally India enjoyed a lot of influence in the West Asian region, whether it is through immigrants or whether it is the remittances, the workers, Indian diaspora. Okay, the trade linkages, oil markets, etc. Because of all these reasons, India has traditionally a lot of influence in the Middle East or West Asian region. However, a recent brokering of a deal between Saudi Arabia and Iran, the China's influence has also further increased. Okay, China's influence has also increased West Asia. So West Asia, once a region where India's influence was preponderant, very dominant position India used to enjoy in the West Asian region. However, due to the China's muscular and the diplomatic offensive, China's influence has also been increasing in the West Asian region, and that has been limiting India's influence. Okay, now please also understand India is not unaware of Chinese hostile intentions. Yes, of course, China has hostile intentions, not just at the borders, okay, not just at the borders, but also in the Indian Ocean, and also influencing its influence in the countries where India traditionally enjoyed stronghold. Okay, India traditionally enjoyed stronghold. So, in this context, India is also aware of the hostile intentions of China. However, it is well aware that China's ability to engage in hybrid warfare. India is also aware that Chinese ability to engage in hybrid warfare. So, what exactly is hybrid warfare? The hybrid warfare also includes several cyber tactics. Okay, so this also includes several cyber tactics along with the conventional warfare. Okay, so for example, it not just include the cyber tactics, but it also includes the politics of war over the Brahmaputra river water data sharing. Okay, river water data sharing or constructing dams. Okay, constructing dams over the upper Brahmaputra. Okay, so therefore it also includes politics of water, and it also redirecting the Himalayan rivers, and it can also adapt. It can also to adapt to modern conditions. The tactics that has been popularized by the 5th century BCE Chinese strategist. His name is Sanju. Okay, his name is Sanju. And what strategy he proposed? The strategy is winning wars without actually fighting. Okay, through avoiding the enemy's strength and attacking his weaknesses. So, according to the strategy of Sanju warfare, China is planning, or China has been trying to avoid the strengths of an enemy and also attacking on weaknesses. Okay, this is the Sanju warfare, and this is also part of the hybrid warfare which China has been planning to adopt or has been adopting. Okay, now we have discussed India and the challenge China poses for India. Now, apart from this, Russia, we need to discuss Russia, the neighborhood. The neighborhood of India includes Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and also India's ties with the neighboring Russia. Okay, the turmoil in India's immediate neighborhood, particularly in South Asia. We all know that the conflict in South Asia, especially the economic crisis in Pakistan, and also the economic crisis in Sri Lanka, political instability in Nepal. Okay, so all these factors pointing towards the turmoil in India's immediate neighborhood. Should not We should not forget the Myanmar. Okay, we should not also forget the Myanmar conflict. Okay, so all this has been pointing to the turmoil or the conflicting situations in India's neighborhood. Okay, now please also understand the situation in Afghanistan has also been deteriorating over a period of time. Okay, the situation in Afghanistan also appears to be steadily worsening. So these events in Afghanistan that are now beginning to affect its periphery, the periphery of Afghanistan. Okay, so all these events will also affect the nation's periphery. Okay, now India's relations with Russia also appear to be entering a prolonged phase of uncertainty. The article, the other, has been suggesting that India's relations with Russia also appear to be entering in a very prolonged phase of uncertainty because India primarily built its relationship with Russia on defense cooperation. Okay, India primarily built its relationship with Russia on defense cooperation. Okay, so this is a pillar, this is a strong factor cementing the relationship between India and Russia. Okay, so this likely to see a prolonged phase of uncertainty because India now going closer to West or to the US. Okay, because particularly for the state of the art weaponry. Okay, for the state of the art weaponry, India has been looking towards the West. So the inevitability of the relationship can no longer be guaranteed, particularly in the context of increasing China and Russia's strategic partnership. Okay, the strategic partnership between China and Russia has been growing stronger. Okay, with the time. Now, uh, now also understand India is one of the country in the world which is able to manage and withstand the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, so India has also seen a very successful economic recovery. Okay, India has also seen a very uh, good or very high economic recovery from the COVID-19 crisis without much damage or very less damage. Okay, now this has been widely seen, India has been widely seen as a prospective global power. Okay, so the prospective global power because of its demography, because of its growing technology, economic and military prowess, India is seen as a prospective global power. However, it has much to do before India attains a global superpower status. Okay, India has a much to do. India has been facing several challenges. We already discussed what are those challenges. So India should be able to cross these challenges in order to achieve the status of global superpower. Okay, so there are many obstacles and that have to be overcome before India can achieve its predetermined goal. Okay, the predetermined goal of becoming a global superpower. Right, now switching on India's electricity future. Switching on India's electricity future. Okay, so this article is with respect to india's electricity India's electricity requirements or electricity uh, you know The smart metering, if we are able to introduce the smart metering across all households in India, across all households in India, then we will be able to conserve or save electricity. The consumers will be empowered, and electricity will become more affordable and accessible for the people. Okay, so with the growing technology, we should be able to transform or translate ourselves or energy systems to the modern smart metering or net metering, right? So this also have several advantages, okay, over the conventional smart meters. So we'll try and understand this article. See, this article is very important for the paper 3 perspective, okay, for both environment and economic perspective. This article is very important. Now understand some statistics about the smart metering in India. Now, more than 5.5 million smart meters have been installed in India so far. Okay, so more than 5.5 million smart meters have been installed in India over last few years, and 100 million are already sanctioned. 100 million smart meters are already sanctioned, and that is India has a target to replace the 250 million conventional electric meters. Okay, so India's overall objective, overall aim is to replace 250 million conventional electric meters with prepaid smart meters by 2015-16. Okay, so India has a target of replacing the conventional electric meters by the year 2025 and 2026. 2026. Now India is supporting this initiative through a results linked grant come financing. Okay, so India is supporting this initiative. Now with the help of discoms, India has been with the help of discoms, India has been implementing this program. Okay, so this is particularly a results linked grant come financing. Okay, for example, if it yields good results and if it is adopted in greater numbers, then the grant will be given to the discoms. Okay, the grant will be given to the discoms by the government, because discoms already in the crisis like a situation. Okay, discoms are already facing financial woes. So therefore, the results linked grant come financing will help discoms to become financially sound and efficient. Okay, so when they become financially sound and efficient, they will deliver better services to consumers. Okay, they will definitely deliver better services to consumer, and that is the keystone or the foundation in ensuring energy security. Not just ensuring energy security, but also ensuring electricity for all. Okay, electricity for all in India. And we have discussed about smart meters. What are the applications of smart meters? So it is also important for us to understand the applications of smart meters. However, this question has not asked in UPSC mains exam, but in previous years there was a question on smart meters in prelims paper. Okay, so therefore it is also important for us to understand the applications of smart meters. Now, electricity use during different times of the day and will give us details, will give us information about the electricity use. Okay, electricity use and different times of a day, different months and seasons. So we have a comprehensive data. Okay, we have a data when we are using electricity, when we are consuming low amount of electricity and high amount of electricity. So therefore we will be able to make smart choices regarding the consumption of electricity, and it will also notifies us about the changes in power tariffs. If government introduces a hike in power tariffs, the smart meters will also inform the consumers. It is not just about the hike in power tariffs, but if government reduces the power tariffs, this will also informed to the consumers. Okay, now apart from this, it will also points you to appliances that have been consuming more electricity. So there are we have appliances at our homes. So smart meters will help us understand the appliances which are using more electricity than they should use. Okay, so when they are using more electricity than they should use, we will also replace them. We will either replace them or we will not use them. Okay, maybe that require a repair. So that will suggest option to replace them with new or more efficient ones. When we are able to reduce them with more efficient ones, the electricity consumption will be minimized. Okay, the electricity consumption will be minimized, and the electricity charges will also gets reduced. And this will also allow consumers to trade solar power directly with peers. If we have rooftop solar uh, panels on our homes, when we are able to produce the solar energy in excess amount, the smart meters will enable us to sell the excess solar energy to our peers. So all this is possible with a mobile app. Okay, all this is possible with just a mobile app. Now, how we can reap the benefits, the technology benefits. Okay, how we can reap the technological benefits. A recent study that was conducted by the Council for Energy, Environment and Water. Okay, so this study was conducted by Energy, Environment and Water. See, whenever you are writing mains answers, you just have to quote such study, such a report. Okay, so when you quote such reports either in the introduction or in the mains, I mean in the body part, the answer looks more attractive and good. Okay, the Council on Energy and Environment and Water, this study has found that majority of smart meter users, they already experiencing some of the technology benefits. Okay, so they have been experiencing the technology benefits. Now we understood how consumers have been reaping the technology benefits because of the smart meters. However, there are several challenges and barriers also. So there are different actors within the power sector also. Indian power sector, for example, discoms. There are discoms. There are Ministry of Power. There are state governments. Okay, so therefore there are different actors, and how these actors can step up so that this program can be implemented in a more efficient and a successful manner. As of now, India is marching towards becoming financially sound and digitized power sector. Okay, India as of now has been marching towards a financially sound and digitized power sector. This is possible with the help of smart metering initiatives or smart metering interventions, and that should be user-centric and deployment strategy. India should pursue a user-centric design and a deployment strategy, and that will finally enable India to achieve or India to become the financially sound and digitized power sector. Here are four suggestions how diverse actors can step up. So this article has also given four suggestions, four key or important suggestions on how these diverse actors can step up. Now first understand the role of Ministry of Power. Okay, the role of Ministry of Power. So the Ministry of Power should actually drive a nationwide campaign. Okay, the Ministry of Power should actually launch a nationwide campaign to educate the consumer over the adoption of smart meter, over the adoption of smart meter and the benefits, the impending benefits of these smart meters. Now apart from that, improve the uptake of smart meter apps. They should be smart meters apps so that the consumers will regularly monitor the electricity consumption. Okay, however, please understand these apps which are already available or accessible to users from diverse socioeconomic backgrounds, and they should provide actionable tips and information also. Okay, so the accessibility issues with respect to these apps should be looked after, and also provide these apps should also provide actionable tips and information. Now we have discussed the first important intervention. Okay, first important suggestion. The second suggestion is discoms. Okay, discoms must co-own the program of smart metering. this program must be co-owned by the discoms as well. Okay, the discoms must take a driving seat in implementing this program, because the majority of the smart meters in India are being deployed or implemented. This program is majorly implemented by advanced metering infrastructure service providers. Okay, advanced metering infrastructure service providers are being used to deploy the smart meters. Okay, they are particularly responsible for installation and operation of advanced metering infrastructure. Okay, so therefore in this context, discoms must co-own the program and they must take the driving seat. So when discoms closely work with advanced metering infrastructure services providers, and that will ensure smooth installation and recharge experience for users. Okay, so the discoms along with AMISPs will ensure a smooth installation and recharge experience for its users to leverage smart meter data for revenue protection and consumer disengagement. So for this, discoms will need to strengthen their internal capacities through suitable staffing and training interventions. Okay, for this, discoms will need to strengthen their existing internal capacity. How they can improve their internal capacity, that will be possible through suitable staffing and also the training interventions. Now the third suggestion given by the author is discom discoms, the system integrators and technology providers, all these stakeholders should collaborate to devise innovative and scalable data solutions, because data is a fundamental. Okay, data is fundamental to any intervention or to make evidence-based policy making, data-driven policy making. So in order to unlock the true value of smart meters, the data solutions or data is very important. So discoms, system integrators and technology providers must collaborate to devise innovative and scalable data solutions. So the fourth important suggestion given is policymakers and regulators must strengthen regulations to empower consumers to unlock new retail markets. Okay, so there are several new retail markets, and policymakers and regulators must strengthen those regulations, and that will empower consumers to unlock new retail markets. For example, consumers producing electricity, right, renewable electricity through rooftop uh, systems. Okay, rooftop solar systems, and they can be able to access, make sure that they consumers to unlock new retail markets. However, as of now, India is a unique journey. So to meet its growing electricity demand, while India has also planning to decarbonize its generation sources. Okay, India has also been planning to decarbonize its energy generation sources. Smart meters will enable responsible consumption, efficient energy management, and cost effective integration of distributed energy resources. So what are the benefits or the advantages of smart meters? The advantages include responsible consumption, efficient energy management, and cost effective integration of distributed energy resources. Now, a user centric design and deployment philosophy, they will be very crucial for success of India's smart metering initiative. Okay, so what required? A user-centric design and also the deployment philosophy. They are very crucial, are very important for the success of India's smart metering initiative. So this is all about the smart metering initiative and the stakeholders involvement, the required stakeholders involvement, and also the benefits of it. Now we'll try and understand the crisis, the Manipur crisis. Okay, crisis in Manipur. Now, before actually discussing this news article, we have to understand what exactly the main cause of the crisis in Manipur. Now, understand what exactly has been happening in Myanmar. So, there are actually two factors. Okay, there are broadly two factors, and these two factors led to the dormant anger. Okay, led to the dormant anger, and that anger translated into violence in the state of Manipur. Okay, so this is already an insurgent affected area, already an insurgent affected state. So within the state, there are two factors, and these are two dormant factors, and that has been manifesting violence. Okay, what is the first factor? Okay, so the first factor is uh, you know uh, the Meiti community. Okay, so the Meiti community. Now, BJP government led by Chief Minister Yan Biren Singh. Okay, Manipur Chief Minister is Yan Biren Singh. Now, who is actually belong to the Meiti community? Okay, Chief Minister belonged to the Meiti community. The Chief Minister, what he did, he destroyed a large tracts of poppy fields in tribal dominated hills. Okay, so few days back we also discussed about how Manipur has been providing the assistance, the financial assistance to farmers who earlier used to cultivate poppy on their fields, right? So, Manipur has destroyed a large tracts of poppy fields in tribal dominated hills, and it also evicted alleged illegal immigrants. Okay, so it also evicted the illegal immigrants from the reserved forests to crack down on the narcotics trade. Okay, so to crack down narcotics trade, it destroyed and also evicted illegal immigrants, and this has caused deep resentment. This has resulted in a deep resentment among the tribal people. Okay, when you are evicted, illegally evicted, or when you are not allowed to cultivate those crops, then there is a kind of a resentment that has been particularly developed among tribals. So who are they? They are cookies. They are cookies community. Okay, so cookies, and these cookie tribal community also alleged that the government has destroyed the churches and homes. The government has also destroyed the churches and homes of cookies. They are not illegal, they are not illegal construction. Even though they are not illegal construction, the government has destroyed the churches and homes, and this is the first reason for that. Okay, this is exactly the first reason for the impending violence in the state of Manipur. So what is the second reason? The second reason is Meiteis communities are Hindus. Okay, so historically they are considered as a general category. Okay, Meitei community, they belong to Manipur, and historically they are identified as Hindus or general category. Okay, now there have been several demands to categorize Meitei community as scheduled tribe. Okay, in the state of Manipur, there are several demands to categorize Meiteis as scheduled tribes, and this has alarmed the tribals because scheduled tribes enjoy around 7.5 percentage of reservation. Okay, now the majority Meitei community, if included in the tribal reservation category, or they given the scheduled tribe reservation, then there are chances that the competition will further increase, and the benefits may not be enjoyed by the already may not be enjoyed by the already ST population. So this is actually the second reason. Okay, this is actually the second reason for the conflict, because the majority of Meiteis who are actually Hindus, and they live in Imphal Valley and surrounding areas. Okay, but few Meiteis who live in areas of the 16 districts of the state. Okay, so majority of the Meiteis usually live in Imphal Valley and surrounding areas, but few Meiteis also live in areas of 16 districts of the state. Tribals, the Kukis, Nagas, and other communities, they are primarily Christians. Okay, so they are Christians and are the majority in all hill areas of Manipur. Okay, so these Kukis, Nagas, and other communities are generally majority people in these all hill areas. Okay, the composition of political parties and leaders of Manipur government for decades has been largely Meitei dominated. Okay, it is actually the Meitei dominated, and this has created an uneasy situation in the hill valley divide, and in other words, tribal Meitei divide. Okay, so since it is largely Meitei dominated, and that has resulted in tribal Meitei divide, whether perceived or not, for decades. So the current crisis is the result of this uneasy situation between the tribals, the uneasy situation behind the tribals, and also the Meitei people. Okay, now this has resulted in the violence. Okay, uh, particularly because uh, uh, the High Court, the Manipur High Court has directed. The High Court has directed the state government to send recommendations to the center over inclusion of Meitei community over scheduled caste list. Okay, scheduled type list, and this has triggered a large scale violence across the state of Manipur. Okay, so this article says that the center has deployed the central security forces to bring the situation out of control. Okay, so to bring situation under control. Okay, to bring situation under control. Now, it says that the Manipur DGP claims the center has invoked Article 355 to address the state's security concerns. However, Ministry of Home Affairs denies doing so. Ministry of Home Affairs says we have not invoked Article 355 of the Indian Constitution. Now, it is very important for us to understand what Article 355 says. So, Article 355 empowers the center to take all necessary steps to protect the state against internal disturbances and also external aggression. If there is an internal disturbance and external aggression, the center can invoke Article 355 to bring the situation under control in any state. Okay, so this is all are important. This part of the article is important, so rest is not that much important. Okay, so the next very important news article is with respect to Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. So this says Manrega workers may get a text message confirming their attendance. Okay, now we also discussed that the Manrega workers have been protesting against the implementation of National Mobile Monitoring Network, right? So what National Mobile Monitoring Network do, uh, National Mobile Monitoring Network actually capture the attendance of workers online. Okay, so it captures the attendance of the workers online. Since the workers, the Manrega workers, not exactly aware of the online attendance, and they also have a fears with respect to the lack of internet connectivity. Okay, lack of internet connectivity in all the areas, they have been protesting against the implementation of National Mobile Monitoring Network. However, the Ministry of Rural Development says that it will it will implement an initiative where if a worker attendance is if a worker attendance is taken, after that, to his mobile number a text message will be delivered. Okay, confirming the attendance of the worker. Okay, text message will be sent. So please understand, there is also a possibility of workers, because several people are in the rural, particularly in the rural areas, either they are not literate or digitally literate. Okay, digitally literate, they may not be able to read the text. Okay, this will also result in the negative consequences, even if the ministry sent such a text message to the Manrega workers. So please understand some statistics regarding the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, or a guarantee scheme. Okay, so this scheme especially comprises women of around 57.4 percentage. Okay, total number of women who are part of the Manrega include 57.4 percentage as of 22-23. Now There are several workers who have been complaining about this keyword internet. Okay, patchy internet, and that will skew their attendance records. Okay, these are the concerns the center has been suggesting that the Manrega workers have been asking the government to not to implement the national mobile monitoring network. So in this context, it is important for us to understand some features of the scheme, Manrega scheme. So it is funded by the central government, and it empowers women, and it is a time bound and guaranteed labor. Okay, it is a time bound and a guaranteed labor, and it is particularly a labor intensive manual work. It is very transparent, and it is coordinated by the local bodies. Identifying work, providing work is primary responsibility of the local bodies. Now in this context, it is important for us to understand the basic features of the Manrega. So the basic features include 100 days of wage employment assurance for every rural household in a year. And apart from that, unemployment allowance will also be provided if work is not provided to the worker within 15 days. And there is a fixed timeline for payment of wages, compensation for delayed payments. Okay, so there is a transparency and accountability in the implementation of the scheme, and wages to be credited to bank account of the beneficiaries directly. Okay, now the next very important news article is with respect to the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So this is Shanghai Cooperation Organization foreign ministers meet. Okay, foreign ministers meeting which has been taking place in Goa. Okay, now in the backdrop of this article, it is very important for us to understand what is a Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Okay, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization is a regional intergovernmental security alliance. Okay, that involves Russia, China, and four other Central Asian states. Okay, now please, this is the old information. Okay, this is old information. So there are several other member countries of Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Okay, so these Shanghai Cooperation Organization member countries include Russia, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Pakistan, India, Iran, China, and Mongolia. Okay, so the major milestones of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization include the foundation of Shanghai 5, 1996, and in the year 1999, foundation of Bishkek Group to counter border criminality. And in the year 2001, Uzbekistan joins the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Okay, in the year June 15, 2001, Shanghai Cooperation Organization founding declaration signed. In the year 2008, Iran submits official application for full right to SCO membership. Okay, in the year 2008. Now also understand some basic documents with respect to the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. In the year 2001, Shanghai Convention on the Struggle Against Terrorism, Separatism and Extremism. Okay, so this was one such basic document. And the year 2002, SCO Charter was also prepared. In the year 2002, Regional Anti-Terrorist Structure founding, whenever there is a question on rats. So this is particularly related to the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, please remember. So there are several goals and objectives of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So they include strengthening of mutual trust and good neighborly policies between the member states. Okay, so this is one such goal and objective. And the other goal is promotion of effective cooperation in the areas of politics, trade, economics, science, technology, culture, as well as education, energy, transport, tourism, and environmental protection. Okay, so the next one is jointly ensuring peace, security, stability in the region, and advancement to a new democratic, fair, and rational global political and economic order. So the SCO structure include Council of Heads of State, Council of Heads of Government, Council of Foreign Ministers, meetings of heads of ministries and departments, Council of National Coordination, and regional anti-terrorist structure. Okay, so this is all about the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Okay, so the foreign ministers meeting is once a part of the SCO's larger structure. The next important news article is center looks into options to counter European Union's carbon tax plan. Okay, so carbon tax plan. So what is this carbon tax? So the carbon tax is generally, first we'll try and understand this article. The Commerce Ministry is exploring various options. So these options to counter or to cope up with the European Union's decision to introduce a carbon tax. European Union has taken a decision to introduce carbon tax to introduce a carbon tax, and that includes a retaliatory tariff measures. Okay, so a challenge at the WTO and measures to help smaller Indian exporters. Okay, so what is the carbon tax? So what is carbon tax? Carbon tax is actually tax imposed by European Union on non-European Union countries. Non-European Union countries to comply with the to comply with the carbon emission regulation or the environmental regulations. So here you can clearly see a European Union company and a non-European Union company. Now European Union companies are generally compliant with European Union compliant climate standards. Okay, however, non-European Union companies may not uh, uh, compliant with the European climate standards. Okay, they may not complain with the European Union climate standards. If they don't comply with the climate standards on those products, they have to pay carbon border tax. Okay, in the European market, if the goods or services is routed to European markets, they have to pay carbon border tax. Okay, so the total tax payable is equals to carbon content on that particular goods and also the carbon price. Okay, so this is all about the carbon tax. Now European Union plans to introduce the carbon border adjustment mechanism, and this mechanism will entail a monitoring mechanism for imports from producers. Okay, so uh, there are several producers, non-EU producers, and those producers who enter into European markets, they have to pay the carbon tax. Okay, so this is particularly for non-green technologies starting this October. So this tax will levied on products from January 2026, and this will likely hit India's metal and engineering products. Okay, so metal and engineering product exports to European Union. This will particularly impact this. Now, India's Commerce Ministry and Indian government has been planning to cope up with such a restrictions on India's imports to European Union. However, there are several plans. The plans include primarily, I mean, reducing or iron or steel sector into remission duties and taxes exported products. Okay, so exported products, there are certain taxes or duties imposed. So remission of such taxes will ensure competitive price of Indian exports and will also help able to cope up with carbon tax, which will be introduced in Europe. Okay, so this is the last and very important news article, and so far India has allowed only public sector, okay, only public sector into nuclear power generation, but the government of India has been planning to attract or allow planning to allow foreign investment. Okay, planning to allow foreign investment plus domestic investment into the nuclear power. This is a very important and a very significant step. Why? Because this is one such measure. This was already recommended by the a government panel, and the government panel is set up by a think tank, Niti Aayog. Okay, the Niti Aayog already recommended this, and this particularly aims to reduce the carbon emissions. Okay, this particularly aims to reduce carbon emissions and also understand nuclear energy